For more than a century, the US had no high-speed rail.
It's been decades since Japan rolled out sleek, high-tech bullet trains. Passenger rail in the U.S. is still trying to get up to speed.
Believe it or not, this has been the reality in many countries around the world. China, Japan, and even European countries boast impressive super-fast rail networks. The United States, a nation known for its innovation and progress, lagged behind in this race. Thanks to the Brightline, a privately owned high-speed rail system that runs from Miami to Orlando, reaches speed of up to 125 miles per hour, takes 3.5 hours to reach Orlando from Miami, and has 6 stations.
Carrying its 5 millionth rider since 2018. Brightline is the only privately owned rail line in the country that links multiple cities. The trains that can hit a top speed of 125 miles an hour have seen ridership jump 116% this year.
So, what's considered a high-speed rail? The U.S. States Codes defines it as a passenger train that generally travels at least 200 kilometers, or 124 miles, per hour, and can cruise up to 355 kilometers, or 221 miles per hour. Think about it. The U.S., a country that practically invented the road trip, struggled to have a single high-speed rail line in operation. It seems strange, especially when you see the Shinkansen bullet trains gliding through Japan at a top speed of 320 kilometers per hour, connecting major cities in record time. What stopped the U.S. from embracing this seemingly revolutionary mode of transportation? Well, the answer isn't as simple as you might think.
We will never see high-speed rail without substantial public investment to build it, and we will never see it without a substantial public commitment to operate it.
There are several key factors acting like roadblocks on the path to high-speed rail in the U.S. We're not just talking about engineering challenges or lack of technology. There are deeper reasons rooted in American culture, political structures, and even the way we view transportation itself. Let's rewind a bit. Remember those iconic images of America, vast highways stretching across the country, families piling into station wagons for epic road trips, the feeling of freedom associated with hitting the open road behind the wheel. This deeply ingrained car culture is a big part of the American identity. Owning a car is seen as a symbol of independence, a way to explore and experience the vastness of the country. And let's not forget the powerful lobbies representing the auto industry and highway construction companies who have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. About 64% of lobbyists are former government employees.
We've become a car culture, and it's hard to break out of that cycle. Not to mention the fact that in our political system, we have very powerful oil lobbies, car manufacturing lobbies, aviation lobbies, all the entities that the high-speed rail would have to compete with.
In 2022, they spent $280 million buying policy and power. The U.S. has an extensive network of highways, a system that took decades and billions of dollars to build. There are 70 primary interstate highways in 48 states. The construction of these interstate highway system cost approximately $114 billion, equivalent to $618 billion in 2023. While there are discussions about upgrading and maintaining existing infrastructure, the idea of investing heavily in a completely new transportation system like high-speed rail was a tough sell. It's like asking someone to trade in their beloved car for a brand new, unproven mode of travel. There's a sense of familiarity and comfort with the existing system, even with its flaws. However, the world is changing. Other countries are reaping the benefits of faster travel times, reduced traffic congestion, and a more environmentally friendly mode of transportation. So, with Brightline, the first true high-speed rail in the U.S. already in operation, is it time for the country to reconsider its approach and build more high-speed rail systems? Unlike some countries with a centralized government that can push through major infrastructure projects, the U.S. system is a bit more, well, patchwork. Decisions about transportation spending often involve a complicated dance between federal, state, and even local governments. It's like attempting to plan a high-speed rail line that connects multiple states. You'd need everyone to agree on the route, funding, and construction timeline. It can be a bureaucratic nightmare. Let's take a real-world example. The California High-Speed Rail Project, a mega construction project. The first phase is estimated to cost $35 billion and roughly $100 billion more to complete the route from Los Angeles to San Francisco. This project is often cited as a prime example of the challenges involved. While this ambitious project aims to connect major cities in California with high-speed trains, promising significantly faster travel times, the project has been plagued by delays, cost overruns, and legal battles. Some residents and local governments have voiced concerns about the environmental impact and the disruption caused by construction. Others question the financial viability of the project, given the massive upfront costs. In reality, building a high-speed rail network isn't like building a new highway. It requires a significant investment in new infrastructure, elevated tracks, dedicated stations, and specialized trains. The initial costs can be staggering, and that's where another factor comes into play: the cost-benefit equation. Critics of high-speed rail often argue that the high upfront costs might not be justified by the ridership numbers in the long run. They point out that the U.S. population is spread out across a vast territory, unlike some countries in Europe or Asia, where high-speed rail has been successful. They question whether enough people would actually use the trains to justify the massive investment. Now, there's another side to the story. Proponents of high-speed rail argue that the long-term benefits outweigh the initial costs. They point to the economic boost that high-speed rail can bring to connected cities, with increased business opportunities and tourism. They also highlight the environmental benefits. Electrically powered high-speed trains produce significantly fewer emissions compared to cars and airplanes. Looking at other countries like China, which boasts the world's largest high-speed rail network, we see how this mode of transportation can revolutionize travel. You could hop on a train in Beijing and reach Shanghai, a distance of over 1,300 kilometers in just a few hours. This kind of efficiency and connectivity can have a major impact on a country's economy and social fabric. But is the U.S. model too different? Can a country so reliant on cars and a decentralized decision-making structure fully embrace high-speed rail? There are ongoing projects and discussions, but the road ahead is full of challenges. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: the perception of high-speed rail as an incredibly expensive proposition. It's true, building a brand new network from scratch requires significant upfront investment. However, there are ways to make the project more financially attractive. One approach involves looking beyond traditional funding models. Public-private partnerships, where private companies invest alongside the government, could help share the financial burden.
We're putting our money where our mouth is, but when private enterprise can play a big role in it, then those taxpayer dollars go that much further.
Additionally, focusing on connecting major population centers with high projected ridership could ensure a quicker return on investment in the long run. The U.S. can take a leaf from China and how their high-speed train transported more than 53 million passengers in 2023, representing an increase of almost 210% from the previous year. The reason is the Beijing-Guangzhou-Shenzhen-Hong Kong route, which has the most population in China. Let's take a look at some specific examples. In the U.S., the Texas Central Railway project aims to connect Dallas and Houston with high-speed trains, a route with a high potential for business travel. Similarly, Brightline recently launched a new corridor linking Orlando and Miami with the fastest American trains outside the Northeast. They have already shown what great American trains can be, catering to a large tourism market. These targeted projects might be more feasible than a nationwide network right away, offering a stepping stone towards a more comprehensive high-speed rail system in the future. Keep in mind that Brightline is one of the few rail services in the United States to approach the lowest high-speed rail standard set by the International Union of Railways of 200 kilometers per hour, or 125 miles per hour.